Cuts it off. A flying tackle by and a drop kick. And Buddy Rogers. He's caught him up there. That can was pretty hard. And look at Buddy going to work now. Oh!
Hey everybody, welcome to a backstage episode of Total Extreme Wrestling 2016, Billy Corgan's NWA. We haven't done one of these in a while, but because we started a new save, I kind of wanted to go backstage for a little bit, maybe just a quick episode, like 20 minutes or something, tinker around with some stuff, talk about what we're doing, and see if we get everything set up and ready to go. So just because it cuts a little bit of time out for us for the next episode, next real episode will be coming up probably Monday afternoon. Next week, kind of editing some other things, so it's gonna be a bit of a delay. So this is kind of what we got in the meantime. No big deal. So we got a lot of work to do here, right, in terms of setting this up. And there's a couple things I was thinking about, and maybe how we can kind of do things a little bit differently. So I do want to look at what we had for the last show was 1,500 in attendance. Because Power is now being produced in a studio, one of the things I was thinking of is, do we want to produce a studio venue? So I'm just curious to see if we did 1,700, it costs $40,000 a crate, it's not the end of the world. And then that would give us a central location to wrestle at. 2,000, 4,800. It seems a bit better. We'll grow out of it quickly, which isn't a big deal. It's not a huge chunk of our money. It's not horrendous. I'd be willing to invest in that. So if I recall correctly, they are, I think, that in the Georgia public. Let me just see. Just check on the internet here. Where do you film? Georgia Public Broadcasting Studio. So we'll just say the NWA Atlanta Power Studio. We'll be fine. A studio set filming location for the National Wrestling Alliance. Is located. All right. Lots of English. Georgia, probably not really any other languages. So that should be fine. Southeast is right. So let's go ahead and build it. We can always sell it later once we outgrow it. But for now, being in Power, being at Power, not necessarily in Power, will help us with that. We also got all of our signings in. So we got the Von Erichs. We got I guess her name's Skylar. We have to just set our pushes real quick. Women's division still looks a little weak. Something we should probably look at. And Von Erichs, we have to assign. They're probably going to be lower card. Yeah. Oop, that's too low. I think the Von Erichs are going to do good things for us eventually. It's just going to take a little bit of time to develop them. But I like having them here specifically for the history of them being like NWA, or the family being NWA, tag team champions. So that definitely feels right to me. Eddie Kingston, probably going to be a main eventer, upper mid Carter. Okay. And who else was there? Kimberly. And will also end up being women's division. Cool. That's done. One thing out of the way. So I wanted to also go through this as a time to show you some of the changes to the save. Because while this is the Fleisch's Mod November save, I modified it a little bit for the purposes of our story and to give us a little bit of continuity from our previous save file to now. So it's like we had said, it's not a complete refresh, right? So let's go over that briefly. So some of the things that we changed were a couple relationship modifiers. In fact, I added a bunch of modifiers in the game normally that I'm kind of shocked weren't in there, mostly relating to Jim Cornette, which I was shocked that he, when I went in here, did not have a dislike of Joey Janela or Matt and Nick Jackson, which I thought was kind of surprising, considering how much he hates them on the internet. Also odd that Vince Russo is not in the save file at all. Seems like a huge oversight. But that's fine. We did do a modification to Enzo's relationship, in which he also has some simmering tensions with us and Joey Janela. Obviously, Joey Janela recently with a fight, but also the fact that he had left the company, I thought warranted adding a simmering tensions to us. So if we wanted to bring him back into the fold, which honestly, with him and Colin Cassidy doing Enzo and Big Cass, I kind of want to. I think they would be a good add to the tag team division, and I think they would fit nicely. But that might provide a little complication. I just wanted to make sure that the reason why I changed this save is I wanted there to be a nice interactive conflict going on. I wanted it to represent the world as much as possible, and I think that adds to that conflict and the layers of complexity that make the wrestling landscape right now really interesting. We also gave ourselves an advantage of Cody Rhodes having a strong friendship with Billy Corgan. So we've added a friendship because of his time as NWA champion and being treated well by him and with his family during that time. That even though he left AEW or he left NWA in our save for AEW, we left him on good terms, and I'm hoping that that can play into a potential alliance or a working relationship with AEW in the future. So I think that's an interesting wrinkle that I think works well for us in our advantage for once, right? And so in terms of character relationships, I think that's all I kind of modified. We also did a lot in terms of relationships between other companies. We don't really have any relationships. The only thing we have is we do have a working agreement with Championship Wrestling. And I'm contemplating in this backstage event, I'm thinking of creating an alliance. And I'm thinking of seeing if we can create a NWA region and actually do like a regional champion. Not sure yet. I'm literally deciding it as we go and film this. So it might play out differently, but I think having the alliance and trying to rekindle the actual NWA would be pretty neat. There are a few companies that we could put into the fold that might make sense. So we'll have to see. In terms of relationships between companies, and I think I might have to go into data to show you this. Let's see, relationships might not actually be able to show you because I don't think you can modify it. The one thing I can show you is something that I should have added to the save beforehand, but I had to do it in an interesting way. I had to add a narrative with the Ring of Honor Twitter scandal. Because again, I'm trying to get it as copacetic to life as possible, but this should be firing in a couple days, probably during our next save, where the Joey Mercury Ring of Honor Twitter war erupts and ultimately leads to a prestige crash because Ring of Honor is in really bad shape right now, and I really want to have that realistically reflected. I guess I can't look at other companies' relationships, which is a real bummer. Let me see if I can find it in their profile. There we are. Okay, so we can. So I wanted to reflect that to the world, because that's the world that we're playing through, and I think seeing the collapse of Ring of Honor 1 gives us some really interesting areas of opportunity for NWA, but also keeps the world interesting in general. And it provides some interesting variety, because it's not necessarily like they are going to collapse, but we're just giving them a huge prestige hit as they kind of potentially spiral downwards. Now, AEW obviously is a thing. We added some extra relationships to them. Something that's not in the save that I thought was important is providing a hostile relationship with New Japan. Even though all parties say that they're not hostile, it's very clear through their actions that they are. And I think it's important to reflect that, because that can provide some interesting opportunities going forward. And obviously, with WWE, they're at war. Even though they're technically only at war with NXT, make no mistake, WWE will do anything in their power to snuff AEW out, and we want that accurately reflected here. So it's very possible with that dynamic, AEW could completely fold. We have no idea how it's going to play out, but it should make the save very interesting. On the New Japan front, in the same regards, they obviously have that hostility. They have that working agreement. I should have put some hostility with Ring of Honor as well. I don't think I necessarily could have with their working agreement, though, so I think that's probably why I didn't. But Ring of Honor obviously has soured their relationship with Ring of Honor for a while, and that definitely should be reflected, but really isn't. So I think that's it for its relationships, for the most part. I think that's going to make the environment really interesting. Obviously, we have Jim Cornette and ACH also have their most recent scandals to deal with that we have some issues with, and we might have to make a decision going forward over whether we let him go. We may make that decision. In fact, we should probably just do it now. Why don't we just... we can't afford to have him, so we can just plop him off. Release. It's fine. So we've removed him. That should also give us a little bit of a boom in terms of money and growth, which is important. We start with a pretty decent momentum here, so we don't want to necessarily lose that because Jim Cornette, of all people. So we need to find somebody to be a strong commentator for us then. So why don't we use this opportunity to do that? We have Joe Galley, strong announcing, need a good color commentator. Let's go ahead and look at the field. I would like someone ideally that has a open availability. And probably someone that doesn't work anywhere else would be nice. Let's actually do that. Let's just say, can we just say unemployed, right? Works for nobody. Okay. So Gavin, loudspeaker, actually has strong commentary skills. It wouldn't be a horrible option. Average color commentary. I don't want John Layfield. Taz wouldn't be bad, but I feel like it's just a little too expensive for us, probably. Well, what are you looking for? 1,600 is really something. What's Gavin looking for? 900 seems a little bit more reasonable. And then Alex Riley, Kevin Kiley. Interesting that he's looking for color commentary work. as a wrestler or that. I mean, so that's a nice advantage, is that if we did take him, we could actually use him for both wrestling and color commentary. Though his color commentary is average. I don't hate the idea of taking Gavin Loudspeaker. I think so, a decent get. Let's see if we can lower that price, though. Don't cover that. I really only want 800, huh? Still just want 800. If I gave you a hiring veto, would you change your mind at all? No, so I'm not even gonna bother. What if I gave you a bonus? A $500 signing bonus? Not really changing it. Okay, 800 it is. Not the end of the world, but it's not. It's fine. That's fine. What are we paying our announcer? $680. So that's about copacetic, I guess. It's not very far off. I don't know what we were probably paying. I probably should have looked at it before we did it. To see if we were making a deal. What were we paying Jim Cornette? We're going to pay. So 1,700. We're probably at a huge win just in terms of not having to pay that. So that's not the end of the world. We do have some production issues. Let's go ahead and look at that real quick. Pretty much across the board, we have issues. Who are our rivals right now? We have NXT on our same level and Ring of Honor. They're industry standard, huh? Which would be the next step up. $20,000 a month. It's a huge jump. I don't think I'm willing. I'm willing to take the hits right now for a lower quality. We're gonna change our distribution to internet. It's just not worth it. I think we can incur some penalties from that. It's not the end of the world. But that money, we have to be mindful of that because that could go really quickly. And we have a nice cushion, but that cushion could very quickly deplete, especially depending on how we spend our money and who we buy and who we hire. So we need to add. Oh, in case you're wondering, I had to modify something, so we're kind of restarted some things. I noticed there were some key elements that needed to be in here that weren't. So I had to kind of like redo the save from the first episode. So some things might look a little bit different. It's nothing outrageous. There were just some like very glaring issues that I noticed in the save file that I needed to fix right away. And I made sure to kind of just redo everything and make it copacetic. All right. Von Erichs. So we have three tag teams. Wild Cards, Von Erichs, and War Machine. It's not a bad. That's not bad. I think our main event looks fine. Eli Drake, Aldis, Storm. Nope, I forgot to do that too. He actually should technically be in the main event because he's a champion. Looks fine. All things considered, can't really complain about it. Mid card, maybe a little lacking. Lower mid card also probably a little lacking. So let's see here. You know what I want to do? For purposes here, let's change our division to tag team. I think this only affects us, right? An assistant booker, so which is fine. I would just like to be able to visually see it. so I know who's in what. I'm probably not going to do much with them here. Oh, I forgot he was Kenneth Cameron. He was part of the Ascension, old school Ascension. Wow, I forgot all about that. Jeez, that'd be a cool tag team to get him back into. I low key kind of loved the Ascension. I thought they were a really neat gimmick in NXT, and it was a real bummer that they were done so rotten on the main roster. Because I thought, I'm like, yeah, big brutish. It seems so weird. The tag team division at NXT I felt like every tag team that they brought up was so strong, and then each time just shockingly misused. It'd be nice to bring some people back into the fold in a way that gives them some honor to what they've done. Ross, we need. Okay. And, we need Hanson and Rowe also. Should be tag team division. It's just more for my visual identification here. It's just nice to have, so I know, yep, they're tag team. I don't know if it shows up in here though, which would be nice. It doesn't. But I think I can filter too. So if we need to look at it, yeah, you can go through the filter on this and look at it. But so we have a couple tag teams. Oh no, I want to look at their prices. So we're paying $600 for Rowe, $600 for Hanson. Latimer, we're paying $1,000 a show. And then we're paying $360. So if we're looking at a 600 range, I think it might be cool to get Enzo and Cass in. He's on hiatus though. So okay, well that's it on that, I suppose. We're not going to pull him into the fray. I thought that would have been a pretty good get. Colin Cassidy's $1,300. I don't really want him alone, to be honest. So we got who else would really be a strong tag team for us? It's like we could steal from MLW, steal like Teddy Hart. Let's see what we got here. Who we got in MLW right now? Tom Lawler. Teddy, you're with Jack Evans and Davey Boy Smith. How much are you? Oh, you're both main eventers up there, aren't you? Yeah. Just too much. I'm going to shortlist them. I think they would be good potentials. But I feel like at this time, I don't know if it makes sense to bring them in. But definitely not bad options for our tag team. I forgot MJF is technically just a pay per appearance on this save because he's still working with MLW, which is kind of funny. So we could take him in, but I don't think we're going to at this time. What's his cost? 700 is not horrendous. But I don't think we need another mid-carder really right now. Our roster doesn't look horrendous or anything like that. It's the really only thing that's glaring is that we might be missing a person, a team. Maybe just having one more team here. So we have heel team. I think heel team, face, having another face team or maybe another heel team. Just having some variety there would be nice. But we can play with 3. 3 is enough. You just want to avoid those situations where you're constantly running the same match, because then you're going to get some penalties. So something to look out for. But we'll play it by ear for now. I think we'll be okay. I do need to set up some titles. I'm going to put the Founders Championship back into play here. I kind of wish I could do something different with this, but it's not really an easy way to handle this fake belt situation. I can set it as a tournament belt, but I don't really want it as a specific month that it can be fought in. But I don't want to necessarily vacate the title each time. So I guess I kind of have to. We'll set it to February for now, I suppose. We'll look how that plays out. Because the idea is that there's going to be, and we're going to start playing into the storyline soon, but much like the Gift of the Gods, there's going to be 5 medallions, one that represents every founding member of the NWA, so like Orville Brown and Paul Pinky George and those guys, and that is going to be something that it can be challenged, fought for, and won in a match, and when all 5 are in play, if you win it, if you beat someone that has it, you take theirs, and if you have all 5, you get the championship, right? You become the Founders Champion, and then you can use that Founders Champion to challenge for any belt, anywhere, anytime. So it's kind of like a Money in the Bank mixed with the Gift of the Gods, is kind of that kind of mechanic. So putting it as a tournament title makes the most sense, because it's something that's going to be cashed in, but I don't necessarily like having it on a specific month. But maybe we just have to, have a contrived way for them all to get one in that month or something like that, and that's just the month's story, like a tournament would be. Not the end of the world, I suppose. Let's see here. What else do we want to do before we really get this kicking off? I think our roster looks fine. Adding the title's fine. We wanted to talk about maybe doing an alliance. Let's check creative meeting real quick, see what we're actually looking at. So our top 5, good start. Yeah, so this makes sense. Next big thing, Sasha Banks. It's kind of funny. Hot prospects. Actually, Kimberly's in our hot prospects, which is nice. And Marshall. And Skylar, interesting. So, and then Royce here. So we'll have to see how they play in. Top talkers. Looks right. Unfortunately, our road agent's one of the top talkers. Showstoppers, best wrestlers. Doesn't seem shocking. Basically the tops. And like I said, this is why I pulled Kimberly in. I wanted a strong ring general for the women's division, who's hot right now in terms of momentum. Which just makes sense, and who's not are going to be anybody that lost their first match. And then we do have time decline on Aaron Stevens and Tim Storm. And Hidden Gems is just anybody in the world, so something to look at that might fit for us. Tommy Mercer, Madison Eagles. Tommy Mercer. Strong Rumble, strong performance, very strong. Wow. Yeah, 12 years old. Not really wrestling for anybody right now. 700 a show. Might be someone we'll look into. Would be a hot prospect, and having someone that's they're not actually wrestling for anybody is nice. Madison Eagle is already wrestling several places. It's quite expensive. I don't think we need her or Cheerleader Melissa. Tim Dunst, I think, is already in CZW. Though speaking of which, who would be a good get for us too in CZW? Someone who also is wrestling, I think, for Power now. I think DJ Hyde wouldn't be a bad option. See what his cost. 800. It's not horrendous. Yeah, yeah, don't really need them. Anybody in here that would really be a good grab right now? Rich Swann's already wrestling in Impact. Mercedes Martinez, she's wrestling everywhere. I don't want to deal with the scheduling conflict, to be honest. Dave McCall. I think we had Dave McCall on our old roster. 300 PPA. Yeah, it's not great. Necessarily something that we necessarily need right now, I suppose. So, I mean, we have a couple that we might look at there that might not be bad. But I'm not jumping. I mean, like I said, the roster is not horrendous. We're gonna keep it small, start slowly building it up as we go. If you guys think there's somebody that we like desperately need, let me know and I'll look at it. I know I have a few suggestions already that I'm kind of eyeballing, but I want to see how we're at after the next show. Would like one extra tag team though. So if you guys either know of a tag team you think would fit at that level, they're going to be a lower end tag team. So they're not going to be, they're not going to be our next big tag team stars. I think we're probably going to keep the belts on War Machine for a while, and try to build up the Von Erichs to get the belts, then have a face run. But like I said, having a fourth tag team in there that maybe could be a gateway team for the Von Erichs would be nice as well. But we could play it out and see what we got going on. What we were looking at? We were looking at relationships. That's right. So we do have this Championship Wrestling working agreement. They can't have offer exclusive to shared workers. Allows talent trading. It's not really something that's that beneficial to us. We could look at doing a working agreement with Innovate as well. We'll see how they feel about that. And let's send one out to AEW as well. And see if they'll come back to us at all about it. Would be nice to see if we could get in on that. And at the same time, where's AAA? Guess we could always pull AAA in and see if they're interested as well. Lucha Libre. Working agreements. We'll probably advance a couple days and see if we can get those in, and then we'll think about that alliance as well. All right, let's skip 3. Skip the Monday, actually. All right. So we got our contract in for color commentary. Perfect. Think he'll fit in fine. Ooh. Hello. So that doesn't really concern us. But everybody accepted a working agreement. So we actually can pull in. We can pull them in for talent trades and alliance loans. It's interesting. Let's try making an alliance. Create an alliance. And see if we actually can. We had tried to do a consortium before, and I just really didn't like the idea of profit sharing. Let's see. So what do we want to do here? We don't want bordered. We don't want territorial. Trading alliance, maybe. Members can be affected by the fortunes of others, specifically if a member falls in size, or experiences financials, then the other members will get bonuses and penalties as well. Okay, let's hold up here and find out what kind of alliances we have out here. What kind of alliances are these? Because I don't necessarily want to make something that hurts us, you know? All right, what kind of alliance? Trading alliance. Everyone's got a trading alliance. I think that's what we'll make. Might be the easiest to get. I don't want something that's necessarily affect us in terms of wins and losses and everything like that. I think that's a little too much for us. But we just want something that would easily allow people to trade alliance members around, share some of those wrestlers. I think will work fine. We want traditional. We don't really want risque. Cult. Necessarily hyper. I think that looks fine. Open to everybody. National Wrestling. Run by Billy Corgan's NWA. If it's bad, we will just scrap it. But we'll make a trading alliance. And we will invite Innovate, who used to be Smoky Mountain, accepted invitation. Come on in. Championship Wrestling obviously is going to join. So here's the big one. Would AEW join the NWA? They have rejected it. It's a bummer. Maybe in time. We could also look at MLW is in an alliance already, aren't they? So they would be a great. Now they're in no alliance. They would be a good fit. Cool. Awesome. That's strong. And I would love, like, maybe a Joshi company or like a Japanese company. But for now, that's not bad. So we got 3 companies in an alliance with us. We can actually make an alliance title if we want. Would be something that we can put in. That would be not the world's title, because I want to keep it exclusive to us. But maybe we'll pull in and unretire one of our old titles, which if I go into titles, investments, purchase title belt, is there an old belt that we can re-bring out? Bringing Global Force Wrestling back. Boy, that would be something. Nothing out in the wild that we could rebuy that would be worth the money. No, not really. Bring back Lucha Underground's title. I mean, well, it would be a really weird title to buy, but something we're not necessarily going to be looking at. So we'll probably make a title, bring back ones. There's plenty of old NWA titles, just even in here, if you just look at, your Liberty States, National Television, National Heavyweight, North American, which we've turned the Carl's Jr. North American into something. Maybe we bring back the North American as our Alliance Championship title, and have a story where Icarus loses the Carl's Jr. title, and maybe the branding gets lost on it, and it becomes part of the Alliance. Maybe the Alliance is actually something that is a story element that we can play into. I'm excited about that. I think that's cool. I think we got a lot of cool things to go through. I'm really excited about the next episode. Thank you guys for joining me for the backstage. Let me know if you want to see more backstage videos. They're not going to be very often, but I think they're useful, and I think it's interesting to see what's kind of going on behind the stages kind of thing. I was thinking of doing a few of these, maybe every couple episodes, do something as a live stream. I thought it would be kind of a fun change of pace. So if you wanted to see a random late night live stream backstage episode of NWA once every couple weeks or something like that, let me know in the comments if that's something that'd be interesting to you. I don't like live streaming TEW. I think it takes too long to wait for the save files to go through and everything like that, and the way I like to edit, because I want to provide some sense of story building and surprise. I don't like to let you guys see me booking the matches. I like to have that revealed to you, and live streaming sometimes doesn't allow us to do that. But I think the backstage element would be an interesting dynamic and something I'm interested in looking at going forward. So let me know. But that is it for me today. I will see you guys again, like I said, probably Monday or next Tuesday for a new episode playing for episode, I guess it'll be 12 or 13, or I forget what number we're at now. I said season 2 reboot. I might be recalling them season 3, because I feel like the direction we're going is going to be so drastically different that it might end up actually being a season 3, a short season 2 and a hopefully a longer season 3. Let me know what you guys think, though, again, about that backstage. I think that might be kind of interesting and fun to do. I'll see you guys next time.